Hello and welcome back to another episode with Lattice Training. Today we're talking about productivity and how to get the most out of your climbing time. So I'm going to go through 4 tips which I think will help you get the most out of your training time. The first one is planning. Now this one's pretty simple. It just means planning out your session, planning out your week, and if you're really into it, planning out your training season. So the main reason planning is so useful to your productivity in the gym is because when you arrive, you're going to know exactly what you're going to do. You can move between your different exercises, your different stations quickly without thinking about it, and it's also going to mean you get the most out of those sessions because they're sequenced in the right order. It's also going to help you plan your training alongside everything else you do in your schedule. So if you have 3 training sessions to do that week, you can plan it around everything else you have to do. This stops you from saying, I just don't have time for that session anymore, or planning to do it next week. You know exactly when it's going to be done and you just get it done. The added bonus of planning out your training is it's going to keep you accountable to what you set out. Okay, so tip number 2 is using a stopwatch or a timer. Primarily this is for timing your rests, but it also might be for timing your exercise intervals. Timing your rest is going to mean you get the best quality out of your training session. If you are one of those people which generally go to the gym and just climb lots, not resting enough, this might add loads of value to your training. Lots of climbers simply aren't resting long enough to have really good quality attempts, and this is going to be particularly important if you're training things like strength and power. What I recommend you do is take a stopwatch or a timer and time sort of a 4 to 5 minute rest in between your really maximal attempts and just get a feel for how long this actually is. I think many people will be surprised at how long it feels. As well as this helping in your training, I've also seen this have a big impact in people's outdoor climbing. Simply building up that awareness about how long you should be resting and how much harder you can try after a good rest really benefits projecting or doing hard climbs outside. Tip number 3 is supersetting. So performing supersets essentially means doing 2 exercises together in alternating sets. This is an efficient way of training because we can train 2 separate muscle groups at the same time while limiting our rest in between the exercises. An example of this might be doing something like bench press, which is going to train the pecs and the shoulders, and then training something like forearm curls in between, which is going to train the forearms. Neither of these exercises should detract from the quality of each other, but we can do it in a much less time. So the 4th and final tip for productive training is setting aside time for uninterrupted training. This kind of links back to the planning aspect, but making sure you have some time in your week where you're going to the gym and it's not about social climbing, it's simply there for training, means that that session is going to be really productive. This might be scheduling a session which is early in the morning, maybe when your friends aren't there, or you're going to use a part of the gym which your other friends won't be using. This is a simple tip that people use in the workplace or in business, and it's just about setting out time in your calendar at which you're not going to be interrupted, you've not got any meetings, and the same principle applies in training. Set a time where you're going to go to the gym and you know exactly what you're going to do and you're going to have no interruptions. This can also work the other way around. So if you already have a training plan set out and you know what your training sessions are and you're already good at doing these uninterrupted, it might be nice to set out times in your week when you want to have social sessions so you know when you're going to go to the gym and actually hang out with friends and do some fun climbing. So there we have it. Those are my 4 tips for being productive in the gym and getting the most out of your training. Do let us know what your tips are for productive training in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.